Hello and welcome to Elkniodaphs Plays. Today we're going to be investigating the Bermuda Triangle. Excuse me, I just am coming over a coughing fit there. Um, Maybe that's the first ill omen. Last week I investigated um, Skinwalker Ranch and had an interesting experience. Even though it's just a flight simulator, still managed to have an interesting experience. And I thought, I know lightning isn't going to strike twice, but wouldn't it be cool if, we check out the Bermuda Triangle? And I even thought about doing uh, something fun with, I don't know, perhaps cutting the internet like in the heart of the Bermuda Triangle, or getting like a webcam pointed at something interesting, or who knows, any kind of thing like that. But I thought, you know what? I want to be legitimate. I'm not going to get cute with it. Let's make an actual flight into the Bermuda Triangle where I don't even know where we are. Um, we're man, I am not good at geography. Um, yeah, I'm not even sure where we are, but there's a series of islands coming off of Florida. Hold on, let me look at my phone. Maybe I can figure it out. Let's see here. Maps. Okay, so yeah, we're near something called the East Caicos, the Turks and Caicos Islands. I think that's where we are. Not even 100% sure. I just picked a good starting point for the flight, and what we're going to be doing is flying north into Bermuda Triangle, like right into the middle of it, and then taking a 90-degree turn to the west and landing at Miami. So here we go. I'm sorry about the coughing. I don't know what's going on with that. A drink over here. I don't have any lozenges on hand, which is unfortunate. So I haven't flown this type of plane on the stream before. I messed around with it a little bit yesterday, and it's all pretty much the same. I mean, planes are planes. Man, this runway was just long enough, wasn't it? I started to get a little nervous there. But yeah, we're gonna fly pretty much right into the heart of the Bermuda Triangle and turn left and land in Miami. That's it. That's the flight. This is a largely experimental effort, as is kind of all my flights, to be honest. I often say that I don't really do like the landmark thing. Like, people like to go out and they check out the pyramids or the Statue of Liberty or whatever, and I like to think that I'm doing like my efforts are on the fringe of interest. So we're doing an early morning flight. It's 6 a.m. I believe is what I had it set to. We're turning towards our custom destination, which is right in the middle of the Bermuda Triangle. Level off at about 5K, I think. I've actually seen a lot of people just straight up doing legitimate flights in the flight simulator, and I gotta say, I'm kind of impressed by that because, um, I mean, they'll do legitimate flights, but there's also a large contingent of streamers that do the sightseeing tours, and that's great. I think that's fantastic. Um, and I don't know. I like to do something kind of different. But as different as I think it is, there's still other people out there doing it, so it's not that different. Although a 2 hour flight over the ocean is kind of unique, I don't think there's a lot of people doing that. I don't think you can sustain this kind of interest to an audience. It's lucky that I guess that I don't. I'm not trying to do that for an audience. I did a flight in the desert. Uh, oh, that sun is really starting to pop over the horizon there. I saw my plane lighting up. Um, yeah, 6 a.m. flight. But yeah, I did a flight over the desert, and in the back of my mind, I was thinking, well, there's still going to be stuff I can talk about because the idea is I fly over these places and I comment on the little villages or make fun of my landing gear, make fun of things that are humorous or interesting things that I find or shapes in the ground, whatever the case may be. Um, and now I'm doing a flight over the ocean, so I literally don't know what to talk about over the ocean for 2 hours. I mean, imagine if you were making taking a real flight over the ocean like this for 2 hours, and the captain tried to entertain you the whole time. That's when he puts on a movie. To that end, I actually had thought there's a episode of CBS Radio Mystery Theater about a plane that gets lost in the Bermuda Triangle, and I thought I could go ahead and set up the audio for that, and that would be cute. But like I said at the beginning, I'm not trying to do anything cute. I just want to make a legitimate flight. But yeah, man, Bermuda Triangle. I beat Pokemon Legends Arceus today. That was fun. I won't spoil anything, but I'll say it's one of those games where you think the end is happening and then it's not happening, and then it goes on for like another 2 hours. So I was kind of locked in. My girlfriend called me and she's like, "Hey, I got some mail coming," and it's might be heat sensitive, and she's she, she's like, "Hey," and she called me like during the what I thought at the time was the last battle. She has impeccable timing, I'll say that. Um, and I told her I'll just go out as soon as I can. I'm in the midst of this epic Pokemon battle right now, and whatever. It was fine. It wasn't the best Pokemon game I ever played, but I was kind of locked in because I run a game club where we book club games, and that's one of the featured games right now. So I enjoyed it, uh, and I'm glad to have book clubbed it, as it were. There's one thing about the main character's narrative, and again, I'm going to be very careful how I express this because I don't want to divulge spoilers. But the main character has their own narrative about, let's see how I can say this, being out of place. And I must say, I was a bit disappointed that, choosing my words very carefully because I don't want to say any spoilers, I was very disappointed that I was just very disappointed with the resolution of that narrative. And that's all I can say about it. I'll say I wish I had seen more. I wish there was more of it. Very strange ending. I don't know why they chose to do it like that. Everyone else's narrative is fine. Like everyone has their own motivations, their own drives, their own. I mean, there's characters that have secret motivations that you find out later on. Like, oh, that's amazing! What a deep narrative for a Pokemon game. Yet the main character's narrative is barely explored, and not resolved in a way that I found satisfying. That's unfortunate. I think the clouds kind of look like cotton candy right now. The sun is coming up. Wow, that's nice. It's a good view, man. I flew to London from the United States, and this was pretty much the whole flight, just this view. Although I seem to remember we a good portion of the flight was at nighttime. I remember the in-flight movie was Kindergarten Cop. I think Kindergarten Cop is the one that has all the posters on the wall, or is it Silent Hill that has all the posters on the wall from Kindergarten Cop? I don't know which came first. It's a very interesting connection. you don't expect that connection to exist, but it does. Again, this is a highly experimental stream. It'll be about a 2-hour flight. Just like I said, into the heart of the Bermuda Triangle. Sharp left, pretty much 90 degrees left, heading west to Miami. I wanted to land in an international airport because with this thing I'm going to need a really long runway. I might even try autopilot. I normally don't go for the autopilot, but man, I've never landed one of these things. I got to a point with Top Gun on the NES where I can land consistently, but this thing I'm not so sure on because I mean, this is a simulation here. Top Gun's just a dumb arcade game. You just have to learn it and get a feel for it. But this is like, this is reactive. This is more than just, muscle memory or visual cues. Although visual cues are a big part of it, but it's more dynamic than that because of the sim nature of it. If you're just joining the stream, thank you for checking out my incredibly experimental conceptual stream where we fly into the heart of the Bermuda Triangle, where almost nothing is guaranteed to happen. Uh, I I don't know why I'm doing this. It's it's I guess it's for posterity. Well, see, last week um, I did Skinwalker Ranch, and I had an odd occurrence there. And I know lightning's not going to strike twice, but I thought, why not? I normally don't open up chat, but because of the nature of this stream, let me pop into the app real quick. I guess chat's open if anyone wants to communicate. Let me just get to it here. Yeah, chat's open. It usually isn't. I usually don't do chat, but because of the nature of this stream, I don't know what to do. I mean, it's just sitting here for 2 hours watching the sun come up. It is a beautiful view, though. And this plane does happen to have unbeatable fuel efficiency, so that's nice. Airbus. Who did that song, Auto Beat Airbus? That's a really good song. Who did that? Oh, oh, Optimus Rhyme. Optimus Rhyme did a song called Auto Beat Airbus. Really, really good song. I don't usually go for rap music, but that's a great song. I've been listening to a rap station I made on Pandora lately, seeded with Run the Jewels and Show Me the Body. Show Me the Body is an amazing group. Um, they had an album called, I think it was called Corpus One, that was really good. I would recommend checking that out. Again, I don't super go into rap music a lot, but when I do, I have very particular taste. Um, Horror is really good. That's H0RR0R. They're a good group. There's a band called Clipping that's really good. I've been. Oh, I have a thing I'm doing after the stream for myself. This has nothing to do with Twitch. Is I'm doing a all night marathon of NES, Super NES, and Genesis games with a bottle of Tahitian Treat and a stack of Girl Scout Thin Mints. That's my night. And just like we're seeing the sunrise here, I'm going to be seeing the sunrise in about 10 hours outside of my real life window when I'm knee deep in DuckTales. That's my night. I feel like I'm going to get to like 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. and just fall asleep. Like I won't be able to take it anymore, but it's worth the effort. Got a lot of games lined up. Let's see. Let me look at my list here. What am I going to be playing tonight? Donkey Kong Jr., Joust, Adventure Island, Double Dragon 2, Mega Man 2. Some NES stuff. Some SNES stuff is Super Mario World 2, F-Zero, Smash Tennis, Super Ghouls and Ghosts, Mega Man X, Earthbound, Harvest Moon. Some Genesis stuff I'll be playing tonight is Ristar, Castlevania Bloodlines, Golden Axe, Toe Jam and Earl, Alien Soldier, Beyond Oasis, and because I have a Xbox Series X and Game Pass, I have access to Rare Replay. There's a lot of NES games on that too. Cobra Triangle and Battletoads, Snake Rattle and Roll, RC Pro Am. So yeah, I'm gonna have a busy night. Um, I joked with my girlfriend about how I'm doing the stream and then I'm pulling an all-nighter with video games. So I'm essentially like stacking video games on top of video games, but I mean the stream feels different. I mean this barely even qualifies as a video game if I'm being honest. I mean it's like a conceptual art piece, you know, driven by uh, uh, my mental and conversational fortitude. Like that's all this is. I don't know how long I can keep it up, but there's only so many things I can talk about. It's a strange looking cloud out there, kind of different from the rest, more voluminous. Kind of strange cloud cover, very like sparse and staccato. I assume that when the sun starts kind of heating up the environs a bit, we'll probably see a lot of this stuff kind of fade out. It'll probably be a clear day, I would imagine. I gained about 1,000 feet in altitude just from this plane's natural inclination to climb. So yeah, we're going straight into the heart of Bermuda Triangle. That's kind of the dictated by Bermuda itself, obviously, on the northeastern tip of it, and then Florida on the western tip of the triangle, and wherever the heck I took off from on the the southeastern tip of the triangle. So it's a pretty big swath, and that's always kind of intrigued me too. Like people talk about like the mysterious nature of the Bermuda Triangle, like planes go missing and stuff, or ships go missing, or you know, what have you, strange occurrences. But if it's a large enough piece of land, well, not land, but you know what I mean, a large enough piece of geography, I mean, it's a 3.5 hour flight all the way across. Now, we're not going all the way across, but a 3.5 hour flight, that's a huge area, and it goes out all around. So, I mean, if you record enough missing flights or sunken ships in that area, it's going to build up over time and create this mythos, of course, but it's really just a huge area. And you could probably pick other huge areas on Earth where you know, lots of planes have gone missing, and it's heavily trafficked too. I once heard a statistic that 90% of car accidents happen within 3 miles of your house. But what they fail to mention is how many outings only take you 3 miles away from your house. So that's more like a causation versus correlation argument. So since this area, my point being, since this area is so heavily trafficked, much like the heavily trafficked personal areas near your house that you might be getting into car accidents in, well then heavily trafficked areas are going to have more, you know, mysterious circumstances surrounding them regarding missing planes or ships. Speaking of car accidents, I did get into a car accident. Super Bowl Sunday it was. The guy is super nice about it. I mean, I don't want to say too much on the stream, but he's being super cool about it. Literally paying for everything. Knock on wood. I you know the my nature is to kind of wait for the other shoe to drop. It's not that I'm second guessing this guy's intentions or his motivations, because so far he's been totally cool. But I always wait for the second shoe to drop. You know, like, I don't know, like, even if it's not him, like we get the new bumper. He bought a new bumper. We're gonna put the new bumper on and find out. Oh well, you have a problem with this over here too. And then, you know, obviously that's not going to be paid for, so that's a whole thing. So I'm always waiting for the other shoe to drop. But yeah, I mean, it's literally my first car accident too. I've never gotten in a car accident before, but yeah, off came the bumper. This dude, I didn't even know whose bumper it was. It was that intersection. I backed up. I got the side of his car. He got the front of mine. Um, and you know, I have an opinion on whose fault it was. He has an opinion on whose fault it was. I'm sure. Uh, but you know, it's all perspective, and nobody's wrong, nobody's right. It's all perspective. Um, but I backed up, and this guy is out in the middle of the intersection, picking up like car pieces, and he brings them over, and you know, of course, it's all off of my car. Uh, his car didn't really have any damage. But threw him in the trunk and exchanged phone numbers, and he ordered the new bumper, sent me a picture of the, you know, his completed order. And he's been a great dude. Like, that's the thing. Like, I mean, if my first accident ever, I'm glad it was this guy. You know, I mean, it could have been some jerk, and this guy's totally cool about it. I've been driving for a while. Never got in an accident, you know. So, but yeah, if you're gonna get into an accident, man, it might as well be a cool guy that's willing to work with you and hear your side of the story and exchange phone numbers and work with you financially and everything. So yeah, totally cool. All right, so we are about a quarter of the way through the flight, which puts us at about the halfway point to our custom destination in the middle of the Bermuda Triangle. Now I'm expecting this sun to burn off some of these clouds over time. Uh, I've gained about another 500 feet, is that, in altitude? Because this plane just naturally wants to climb. I might dip down a little bit. My custom waypoint wants me at 35,000 feet, which seems a bit high. I mean, I'm willing to do it, but you know, seems like you don't need to go that high for an ocean flight. As usually, I have my chocolate milk. Sometimes it's strawberry, but sometimes it's chocolate. I'm always fighting off the urge to do like loops and corkscrews and barrel rolls and things. I always try to keep my flights as legitimate as possible, and I think that's the unique thing I bring to the table. But maybe that's not so unique. I think a lot of people do legitimate flights. I I happened to see uh, I was poking around the world map yesterday, and I will call him Spooky for short. Um, I saw him flying over China, and it was just this really cool moment where it was like I wasn't anticipating seeing a friend get engaged with this simulator, and here he was doing a flight over China. And no, it wasn't China; it was Japan. I was doing a flight over China. He was doing a flight over Japan, and it made me wonder if maybe he'd be interested in doing like a multiplayer flight this one day, kind of flying around together. I think that would be that's kind of a cool concept, like doing some Blue Angels stuff. Just getting out there and just flying around and seeing the sights with your friend. My aunt just flew to the Dominican Republic for my cousin's wedding, and I gotta say, during COVID, I don't think you could get me on a flight, but I mean, hats off to her, man. Uh, you know, I know that family's very important to her, and she wanted to be there, and I'll tell you, couldn't get me on a plane. I don't like flying anyway, but especially now. I did a test flight of this yesterday. Not all the way in. I probably got maybe about 5 miles out, and I was like, okay, works for me. But I did a test flight of this yesterday, and it was probably because of the time of day, but the cloud cover was completely different. This cloud cover is really weirding me out. Like, it seems so unnatural. It reminds me of this movie. Oh, what was it called? Hold on, I'm looking it up. I want to make sure I get it right. It reminds me of this movie Vivarium. Vivarium, where these people buy this house in this neighborhood, and they begin to realize that they can't escape the neighborhood. No matter where they go or what direction they go, they always kind of wind up back at their house. And everything has this kind of artificial quality to it, kind of like Truman Show-esque. And even the clouds look fake. And I'm kind of getting that sense from these clouds right now. Very Vivarium-esque clouds. Of course, the very name of the movie is a spoiler. I mean, you can't tell someone about the movie Vivarium without spoiling its content, because if you know what the word vivarium means, then you understand what the movie is. Similar with Return of the King. Return of the King, spoiler. I was trying to think of other movies that spoil their contents with title. But yeah, I kind of feel like I'm getting into that mode of I really don't know what to talk about. So again, chat's open if anyone wants to engage. Again, just mentioning that I'm flying into the heart of the Bermuda Triangle. I don't know why the sun hasn't burned these clouds off yet. I noticed that they seem to be getting a little flatter. like lower and flatter, and I think they might be spreading out a little bit, maybe kind of dissipating into the waters below them. So I think the kind of clouds these are what, like when you have a foggy morning in your neighborhood, this is the kind of cloud cover that you have over your town. There's this sensation that comes with this type of stream. I got it in the desert, and I got it the first time I streamed, which was um, Tucson, Arizona to Las Vegas, Nevada, um, which kind of set the standard for the 2 hour flight for me. Um, and in case you didn't know, that's a reference to Penn and Teller's Desert Bus. But I did it in a plane, so it took like a quarter of the time. Um, but there's this sensation that you get with these kind of streams where you're going over desert or ocean in this case, where you feel this kind of isolation and this kind of sense. It's not an overwhelming sense, but it's there. There's like a hint of it in the back of your mind that like there's nowhere to go. Like this, you don't have a safety net here, and it, it's 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 kind of an overbearing, pervasive thought that kind of enters your head. Like, what if I need to land? There's nothing I can do. There's no runways here. Maybe even in the desert I could land, but I can't land out in the ocean. This is it. This like this is my I'm stuck. There's a band I like called They Might Be Giants, and I can't remember the name of the song, but they have a song where, and one of the lyrics is, they ran out of gas, so the plane can never land. I like that thought. Running out of gas in the sky and just being stuck up there because the plane ran out of gas. It's funny. I mentioned Run the Jewels earlier. They have a lyric in one of their songs that references They Might Be Giants. Um, I think it's LP says, We Might Be Giants, which I think is a not so obvious reference to They Might Be Giants, but I think it's intentional. I would imagine that it is. There was a time, I want to say 2003, 2004, where you could not turn on your TV without hearing They Might Be Giants at least once. You had Malcolm in the Middle, which I think predates 2003, but they still had reruns. People still cared about it. You had The Daily Show, you had Dunkin' Donuts commercials, and you had, was it Payless Shoe Source commercials? I think it was Payless. But all this stuff was happening simultaneously. It was like an intense confluence of They Might Be Giants licensed music just on TV. The first season of Malcolm in the Middle is riddled with They Might Be Giants. If you're familiar with their library and you watch the first season of Malcolm in the Middle, it's almost like 2 or 3 times an episode. Like, oh, there's another They Might Be Giants song. My friend Zach has a tattoo. It's a They Might Be Giants tattoo of a snowman warming himself over a pile of burning money. And I gotta tell you, I'm a bit salty about that because I wanted to get that tattoo. Now, if I get it, it looks like I got it because of him. Uh, but meanwhile, I have a hoodie with that logo on it, but my mom has it. That's fine. I want her to have it. She wears it a lot. But, I like that design. It's one of those designs where it seems like the snowman warming himself over a pile of burning money. It seems like it's meant to suggest something, but you can't quite figure out what it is. I like that it's vague. It seems like there's a deep meaning there, but it's not explicit. You know, I thought that the clouds were going to burn off, but now they seem to be getting thicker. And looking ahead, I can see uh, a great deal of clouds, almost in the form of like a cloud bank. But we're quite high above the cloud cover. These are really low-hanging clouds. Got the moon up there. Got the sun over there. Let's check out the cockpit view. Yeah. I uh, I always like those games that have the big controllers like a Steel Battalion. I bought Steel Battalion when that came out. I enjoyed it. I thought that was really cool. Um, it kind of felt like piloting a mech. I mean, you had this really bizarre, what was it, like a 43 button controller? Maybe even more than that. I don't remember. But you'd power it on, toggle switch and access all your systems, and there was lights and had really good tactile feedback. Yeah, that was fun. I like Steel Battalion. But as far as simulators go, I never bought in. I never got into the whole like big time controller outside of course, you know, like a arcade style uh, joystick, flight stick. I actually had a flight stick for the NES. I had mentioned Top Gun earlier. Of course, I was going to use the flight stick on the NES for Top Gun. And some chocolate milk. So we're getting pretty close to our halfway point into the Bermuda Triangle. Let's do a top-down view. Looks kind of surreal, kind of a surreal atmosphere. There's a higher up cloud. I haven't seen a lot of higher up clouds. We're about 10,000 feet up. Let's do a bottom up view. It looks so static. Like we're moving so fast, but this view just makes it seem so static. Kind of gave me vertigo there for a second. Yeah. 10,000 feet. Yeah, I usually don't fly this high either. I usually am about, I'd say maybe cap out at about 3,000 feet. Because, like I said, the idea for me is to fly low so I can comment on things that I see. But out here, there's really not a whole lot going on, so there's no reason for me to be that low. The 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 waypoint seems to want me at 35,000 feet, so I guess I can go up a little bit. And we are getting close. Suppose I could match that altitude. It's weird that I'm kind of getting vertigo from this. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a video game, but man, it is giving me vertigo. I'll tell you that. Ooh, I don't know if I like being this high. It's a bit much. My cats are behaving today, which is good, because that usually doesn't happen during the stream. Man, I'm ascending way too quickly. I need to slow down. Maybe I'll pop it into autopilot. See where autopilot wants to put me. Yeah, redirecting course. My heading was a little off, but now it's flying straight towards it. Man, can you believe humans actually do this? This is insane. It's insane, man, that humans will get into a plane and do this. I mean, this is crazy. And they say it's the safest way to travel, but Jesus, man. Can you imagine? People do it every day. That's the craziest part to me, man. People do it every day. Even just like cars. People get into a 2,000-pound machine, drive on a road next to other 2,000-pound machines going 80 miles per hour, and no one blinks an eye. God, I don't know, man. I am starting to get a little vertigo from this. I don't like being so high. It's freaking me out. I was in one of those, like a F-14 or something, and I got up to about 35. It was about 35,000 feet, and I don't know. It didn't really affect me in with any kind of vertigo or anything. I think it's just a different kind of plane, or maybe it's because I was flying over land. So I had like points of reference to like kind of lock onto, like visually. Up here, like there's not a lot going on. I noticed that the AI pilot, autopilot, brought my speed down a little bit. I don't know why I did that. Yeah, vertigo's starting to pass, so that's good. I still don't know if I want to get up to 30,000, 35,000 feet. I'm gonna let that one go. Flying in the Bermuda Triangle. Not trying to push myself into any kind of discomfort. Meanwhile, what did I just say about my cats? Oh, they seem to be behaving today. This one's jumping on top of the arcade machines. So, yeah, we're almost to the waypoint. This is the pretty much the dead center of the Bermuda Triangle, and then we're going to make a 90-degree turn to the west. And that's going to be our heading towards Florida, land in Miami. I think we're close enough to start making a very wide turn towards the left. I wonder if it'll count, like, since I'm not high enough, I wonder if it'll count uh, and switch my waypoint to my destination. Yep, I counted. Okay, so turn towards Florida. Whoa. A little too much yaw. Yeah, so this is the heart of the Bermuda Triangle. Now we get to go land in Florida. Always small adjustments on the plane. So I'm not sure what location I want to fly next week. Let me look at my list here. Maybe I've come up with something. Japan always looks good. I haven't flown in Japan on the stream yet. Might be a fun one. China might be interesting. Canada. I have a friend that lives in Canada, so I wouldn't mind flying around there. Maybe buzz by her house. Loch Ness, if I want to keep up this kind of investigatory style of flight simming, going up and down Loch Ness might be fun. That's a huge area too. That's a big body of water from what I hear. The California coast, Romania, aka Transylvania. That one would be fun. I told my girlfriend about my interest in flying in Romania, and she says, if you do that, you gotta find Dracula's castle. Fly by Dracula's castle. And I agree. I think that's a good idea. I don't know where that would be, though. I'd really have to fine-tune that, put down some waypoints and whatnot. There's a peninsula off the west coast of Mexico that seems quite like a destination vacation spot. So that seems like one that I might want to fly over, similar to the California coast, perhaps. Africa, of course, and Greenland. I don't have any particular reason to fly over Greenland other than the fact that I did Iceland before on the stream, and I always kind of put those two together in my head. Like they seem tangentially related, even though they're quite opposite. Um, so I thought that one might be fun. I think Greenland is largely snow covered, if I'm not mistaken, and Iceland is actually quite green, which is kind of funny when you think about it. I was surprised about how small Iceland was. I had no idea it was such a small country. But that was a fun flight. I like that one. We went from the southern coast of Iceland to kind of the northern coast. There was like an inlet, and I flew to the inlet. Uh, but yeah, the whole country across the whole of Iceland in like an hour and a half, in like a slow plane too. Like it was a slow plane. Yeah, I think yeah for that stream I was flying the Icon, which is a really tiny, uh, not very fast plane. I think it does like uh, something like 100 kts. What does that stand for anyway? I'm over here playing a flight simulator. I should know these things. Yeah, knots. Okay. So plane speed measured in knots, and that the uh, the Icon does like I think like 110 knots per hour. And while I'm at it, let me just check something. Okay, I just want to double check because for like months and months and months, I was referring to the you can see up there on the horizon that says time approach 407.42 nm. And I've been referring to those as nautical miles just because that's the thing that makes sense to me. I just wanted to look it up and make sure that I was correct, and I was, so I feel good about that. I'm glad I got something right. So we're dropping altitude a little bit. That's on purpose. I have an airport next to my house in real life, and constantly hearing like little Cessnas taking off and whatnot. They have events over there. I forget what they call them, like a community like plane watch. I don't know what they had a word for it. I don't remember what it was, but everybody goes out there and like, they barbecue and stuff, and we watch planes leave and come back, leave and come back. I mean, fine. We have car shows where I live too. I don't know, man. I guess I'm just not into the whole like gawking at vehicles thing. It's cool, people like that stuff. I don't know. I remember going to the airport event by my house a couple years ago, and they were having like a rummage sale, and they were selling these old time magazines from like, man, I want to say like the 30s. I'm probably off a little bit, maybe the 40s. And I kind of wanted to buy some of them. They're pretty cool, man. I like that kind of window into the past. I listen to a lot of old time radio, which I mentioned before because I was going to play that. I was considering playing that episode of CBS Radio Mystery Theater where they do the whole Bermuda Triangle thing. Let me load that up here. Yeah, here it is. The Triangle. "5 days after a commercial airline vanished into the Bermuda Triangle, a sole survivor is found. She then recounts her adventure in a lost world within the mysterious void." It's like when people thought that black holes, like you see like a lot of old like cartoons or whatnot where they're like, yeah, black hole is a gateway into another realm. No, not really, my dude. That's a neat thought for your cartoon, but that's not really what it is. But yeah, I just think that planes are falling out of the sky out here, apparently there's some magnetic stuff that happens out here and can mess with your instruments and stuff like that. I believe that, and that sounds reasonable. I gotta check my cats. They're getting into something. Hey, what are you doing? Don't mess with that. They're always getting into something. So I'm looking at this website here. It's supposed to have this episode. But it's not working. That's weird. The app is playing and everything, but there's no sound coming out of it. Maybe that's the unusual happenstance that's being prompted by my being in the Bermuda Triangle. Let me reload the page. There it is.
Filling the air with bright and beautiful music. This is KIXI, AM and FM, Seattle.
It just stopped again. That's weird.
CBS News next, it's 10 p.m. CBS News. Republican conservatives are divided over President Ford's official announcement Monday that he will be a candidate in 1976. I'm Jerry Landay reporting on the CBS radio network. One conservative elder, Senator Barry Goldwater of Arizona, says Mr. Ford may well be unbeatable, particularly if the economic situation improves. Other right-wingers, including Governor Meldrum Thompson of New Hampshire, argue that voters want a more conservative choice and are urging Ronald Reagan to declare. Reagan says he'll make up his mind later this year. A Democratic governor, Milton Schaaf of Pennsylvania, assesses Reagan's strategy.
What he's trying to do at the present time is find a chink in the armor of President Ford so that he could possibly unseat Ford and become the Republican candidate, and that's going to be a very difficult thing. And then his problem is, does he run as a third party?
I'm going to fast forward to the show.
And the people we're talking about were solid, substantial, dependable people. A well-known judge, a famous aviatrix, a United States naval vessel, a patrol of Air Force bombers, a commercial airliner, and others too numerous to mention. What happened to them? Is there an explanation? Some say yes, and some say...
Please, don't humor me. I tell you, there's a place beneath the water.
Beneath the water?
Yes, beneath the water. Or maybe it's above the water.
Well, it can't be both.
It can be. Two different places can exist in the same spot at the same time.
Look, you've had a harrowing experience. I suggest sleep.
I need somebody to believe me, please.
All right. I believe you.
Do you? Do you really?
Well, of course.
I was there. It's another world. A glorious world. It's utopia. Would you like to come back there with me?
Well, certainly, but for now, you just go to sleep, huh? Try to sleep.
Yes. Yes, I will. I will.
There's a comment here. Let me see if I can find it. Find in page. I read this comment yesterday and I really liked it. By user Gerald, it says, "It is always difficult to portray a paradise. Almost inevitably, the utopia comes across as boring. The best parts of the Divine Comedy involve hell and purgatory. Heaven, by contrast, comes across as vaguely dull. In this episode, life in the city seems like death to me. I actually thought the woman was going to rebel against the sterile character of the city. Am I nuts, or did the tease at the start of the show not actually appear on the broadcast? I assume the officer, blah, blah, blah." Okay, that's like narrative stuff. But yeah, just what Gerald says about utopia, I find very interesting.
Can fight it better than jobs.
Welcome home, Daddy. Are you here forever?
Forever. The way to get this country working is to get people working. So if you have a job to give, call the National Alliance of Businessmen. For hundreds of ships and planes. Why did they disappear here? Who knows? Are the reasons supernatural, extraterrestrial? Your guess is as good as mine. I've flown this patch of ocean 1,000 times, and I think it's all just an old wives' tale. I just mention it because folks talk about it, and the next time somebody does, you can say, I actually flew over it and nothing happened
He
to
went
me.
on and on,
Now, among the
just talking about it, and I must have fallen asleep again. And then, well, I wasn't sure. You know how it is in a dream sometimes? You have visions of falling, and it's also real. But I knew that I was falling, and I woke up, and there was this terrible roar, and I looked out the window, and we were on the water. We were on the water. We must have come down and crashed, but nothing was broken. Nobody was hurt. Everybody seemed paralyzed. And then there was a voice, a woman's voice. It was very soft, very sweet. And it said, "Welcome home. Welcome home again to all of you." I didn't know what to think. Were we dead? Were we all killed in the crash? Was this heaven? My name is Aura. I'm your guide. Please don't be frightened. Everything is fine. In just a moment or two, you will adjust. You will resume your natural, normal lives as citizens of the city. Everything you think you feel now, all the ties that bind you to the illusory world you've just left, will disappear. You are coming home. Home where you belong. I looked out the window. A bright sun was shining in a deep blue sky. We were somewhere. I didn't know where. It seemed to be a large, lovely park. And there were beautiful pastel-colored buildings. Oh, what a city. What a glorious city. The trip is over. The fantasy ride is over. And all around me, people were getting up, laughing and smiling, and talking. I sat in my seat. I didn't know what to do, what to think. Was it all a dream? Finally, everyone had left the plane. I was all alone. What should I do? Still sitting here, my dear? I don't know. The fantasy trip is over.
That sounds like a pretty cool episode. Might actually have to download that and listen to it later, like in full. Listen to a lot of old-time radio. I like CBS Mystery Radio Theater is probably my favorite. There's a guy that's recently celebrated his 15th year of doing old-time radio podcasts, where he just takes the show and converts it to podcast format, Relic Radio. It's got like 7 or 8 different feeds, all kind of themed around different genres. I'm subscribed to the horror one, the sci-fi one, and the thriller one. But yeah, Relic Radio and CBS Mystery Radio. There's one that I liked a lot called Mind Webs, which is from the 80s, which is pretty surprising. So you don't expect old-time radio from the 80s, but here we are. And it's like a guy reading short, like weird stories. Like not just science fiction, but like there's usually like a twist or something that kind of subverts your expectations. And I can't remember the name of the guy that does the reading, but Mind Webs. It's not like acted like a lot of this old time radio stuff. It's just like a short story being read dramatically with music behind it to kind of set the mood. I do a lot of H.G. Wells and stuff on there, and I've actually found through listening to Mind Webs that my writing style can sometimes be very similar to H.G. Wells, and I begin to appreciate him more as an author. I don't know if he's a good person or not. He might be a garbage person. I don't know, but the writing is solid. You know. He did one about going into this kind of underwater landscape in a submarine, like a personal submarine, and finding all these like underwater I guess bipedal creatures that have this underwater community, and they kind of close in on him. I don't remember if the guy escapes or not, but that was a good one. Hey, these clouds are finally starting to get some real mass to them. They're not just like these wispy things anymore. These are real solid clouds. That's good. Some real definition. I did a flight out of Miami once, and everything was messing up. Like everything. Like none of my Controls were working. All the instruments were incorrect. That could have been a Bermuda Triangle moment in retrospect. And I just managed to find this tiny runway. I don't even know where I was, but I just landed on this tiny runway. I feel like I was probably about 30 minutes out from Florida. You know, probably a pretty good piece into the triangle. And I didn't even think about it at the time. Like, yeah, I was in the Bermuda Triangle, obviously. But yeah, I managed to find this tiny, tiny little runway, and flew back to Florida, and hadn't been out here since. And here I am, you know, doing fine, knock on wood. Now, I say this every time I fly, every single time. I don't know if... Okay, ultimately, I'm going to botch a landing. It's just going to happen. I haven't done it yet. Haven't botched a landing yet. I've come close. I've had some pretty shaky landings, but I haven't completely botched a landing. Now, I'll tell you this. I normally don't fly these commercial airliners. So, the thing I'm comfortable with is like a Cessna, or like a smaller, like single engine plane, just something tiny. That's what I like. I like to do that. That's my style. That's what I'm comfortable with and familiar with. I haven't landed one of these yet. And that's one of the reasons I'm going to International Airport to land, because I know I'm really going to need that space on the runway. I'll tell you what, I do need like a bit of a break, so I'm going to put on the autopilot and I'll be right back. Now again, I realize I'm flying over Bermuda Triangle, so I might come back and... Okay, well, let's just see what the autopilot's doing real quick. Okay, yeah, it's just realigning my course. So I'm going to come back and hopefully still be in the air. I'll be right back. I'm back. Looks like we've lost a significant amount of altitude. That's okay, we didn't really need it. I I got the cat some treats because I felt bad about getting her off of the arcade cabinet earlier. And readjust here. I also grabbed myself some of these veggie straws in case I needed a snack during the flight. I mean, we still have a bit left. Like, we're getting really close, but we're still a pretty good ways out. So I might want a snack. I wanted something that wasn't so sugary because, like I said, I'm pulling a retro video game all-nighter tonight. And part of that, for me, is going to involve Girl Scout Thin Mints. So I figure something healthy now, something unhealthy later, instead of piling unhealthy upon unhealthy. Yeah, we're getting kind of low. Seems like the autopilot wanted... I tested the autopilot out yesterday over the same area, and it wanted to put me at around 3,000, or like 3,500, which seemed kind of low to me. I mean, in real life, I've, flown at 30,000 feet before. Like I said, I did a flight to London once in real life, not as a pilot, as a passenger, but I couldn't imagine flying merely 3,000 feet above the ocean all the way to London. That seems a little strange. I mean, I guess you want to get some height, probably because, there's less wind activity up there, and birds or whatever. Although, I don't think birds are flying 3,000 feet high anyway. But hey Google, how high can birds fly? Whoa. Hey Google, stop. Birds can go up to 13,000 feet, man. That's crazy. I never would have guessed that. That's crazy, man. I mean, you always hear the story about like a bird getting sucked into like a plane's engine or whatever. But I wouldn't imagine they would go up that high. That's crazy. Wow, that's something. Never would have guessed. That is surprising information.
Considering the way the place is set up, why should she even want to leave? You realize, of course, that she does manage to get back here, because back here is where we first met her. How? For that, you must wait my return in just a few moments with Act 3.
So E.G. Marshall always teasing.
Oh, who's worried about you? Do they know you lost your job? That you're a prisoner in your own house? Do they care? Please, Mama. I came back here to take care of you. I came back here because I was afraid you couldn't make it by yourself. I gave up everything for you. Why did you ever give up for me? You were too shy to go out with boys, too timid to get a job which would make demands on you. And why am I shy, Mama? Why am I timid? It's because of you. I had paradise, Mama. I had utopia in my hands. And I was too frightened to take it. Oh, you're crazy. You were in the sun, in the water too long. Now look, you just lie down. No, I won't. I want to go back. I want to go back, Mama. Go back to the city.
Oh, hey, look at that. We have Scotland K. Huh, interesting. I'm gonna look at my map on my phone and see exactly where that is. Hold on a second. Island in the Bahamas. Yeah, dude. Maps. Let's see if this kind of tracks. Yeah, that kind of makes sense. I kind of see where, yeah, so yeah, we took off from what I believe is a place called the Turks and Caicos Islands, flew north for about an hour, and turned left, and yeah, we're really close. We're gonna be, yeah, these are the Bahamas. And then just past that we have Miami and West Palm Beach up there on our right, Fort Lauderdale. Yeah, dude. We're getting pretty close. So these will be the Bahamas. I actually didn't suspect that we were going to be passing over this for some reason. I don't know why. But you see how fast we're moving. Finally moving over some land, you're able to get a sense of how incredibly fast we're moving. It's easy to lose yourself over the water and not really understand your momentum. But when you can see the land pass beneath you, it kind of becomes clear, because you have that point of reference. This is most certainly the fastest we've gone on the stream. This plane moves at about 450 knots. And I usually do Cessnas, which move at about 135 knots. So we normally don't go this fast on the stream, but yeah, to make this Bermuda Triangle flight, I needed a big time plane for a big time flight. And I think that'll be all the land until we get to Florida. Oh, no, there's something up here. I don't know what that is. Point of interest up here on the right. So yeah, I was thinking about doing something cute with the internet, or pulling like the Ethernet cable out right in the middle of the triangle, but I want to keep it legitimate. I'm not doing anything cute like that. I'm trying to make legitimate flights over here. Our listing pretty far to the right. Let's straighten out. Yeah, I see a little marker up here that's going to be a point of interest. I do see some more land underneath the clouds, so I guess I was wrong about not coming across any more land. What would that be? Let me look at my map again. I thought we passed the Bahamas. Yeah, I guess there's a... Okay, yeah, there's a whole second island out here. Deepwater K. Watch out for that glass shark in the deep water. Glass shark. That's a deep cut, man. My Brother and Me podcast, Glass Shark. I recommend looking that up on YouTube. Yeah, maybe I can just do it right now. Let's see. Glass Shark.
I used to, when I was a kid, I would sometimes get into the deep end of a pool, and I would have the thought, what if there was a shark in here? And then over the next few minutes of being in the deep end, that thought would gradually congeal to, fuck me, there is a shark in here.
So, Justin, the fact that you could see through the water didn't do anything.
Don't matter. He was behind me. He's avoiding. He's made of glass. Glass shark. Glass shark love fat kid. That's one thing about glass shark you gotta know. Glass shark, he loved a fat kid. You stay out the water, fat kid. Glass shark coming for you. He get you down to that bad deep water, that dark water. You wasn't fat kid, no go. Glass shark, come to that dark water. He get you, fat kid. You swim around, he bite your trunks right off. You tubby little fish. You swim all you want, flap around. Glass shark gonna come. Glass shark behind you, fat kid. You gotta swim faster. Pretend there's a corn dog at the end of the pool. Get out that dark water. That dark water and glass shark coming for you, fat kid. He make you a snack. He eat your brother. He don't care. He glass shark. In that bad dark water.
Yeah, that's classic. Oh, they're starting again. That's classic, my Bim Bam. Glass Shark. My girlfriend has a sticker of Glass Shark. Yeah, My Brother and Me podcast. Definitely a winning podcast. They're like almost... Are they over 600 episodes in, or they're almost 600 episodes in? They've been doing it for a while, man. Great podcast. I mean, they're brothers, so obviously they... Well, not... I guess maybe not obviously, but they do have great chemistry. I identify with Justin the most. I think him and I have the most in common. Justin and Griffin do a show, or they used to do a show, called Monster Factory on YouTube, where they play video games that have like character creators, like you know, like a Skyrim or something, where you make your own character based on like sliders, like, oh, how big do you want your chin to be, or what color are the eyes, or whatever. It's called Monster Factory, and the caveat of the show is that they make the most grotesque creations that the game allows. The policy of the show is no middle sliders. Everything's either all the way to the left or all the way to the right. You want those extreme values to influence the design of the character. They've had great success with Soulsborne games. Unfortunately, they haven't done a Monster Factory episode in a long time, so I think they might kind of be done with it, which is a problem because Elden Ring is coming out next week, and man, I would really love a new Monster Factory episode, if I'm being honest. Elden Ring looks fantastic. I mentioned my game club earlier. We're going to be featuring Elden Ring. If I feel at all confident with it, I might even stream it. That might be fun. Elden Ring looks amazing. It kind of has the open world aspect of it makes me feel a little more comfortable going into it, because I've always struggled with the Soulsborne games. I think the one I was best at was Bloodborne. I actually managed to kill the first 5 bosses in Bloodborne without even dying, which I think is a pretty good achievement, personally. But nonetheless, I do struggle sometimes with the gameplay loop. It's not even that they're hard. It's that I get into this gameplay loop with Soulsborne games where I find like a place where I can grind souls, and I do that, and I can never break out of that cycle. Because once I get comfortable in that zone, like a place that I carve out for myself to be able to grind these souls, I I spend the points, upgrade my attributes or whatever, and then I try to break out of that cycle, and I just can't. I get stuck. And this always happens to me about 2/3 of the way through Soulsborne games. So I make progress just fine, but then I just get stuck tripping over my own feet because I want to make like a certain kind of developmental progress with my character, and then it just doesn't happen, and I beat myself over the head with these mechanics and never get out of it. But I think Elden Ring is going to be different because of the open world nature of it. You can just kind of go anywhere or whatever. Like I know I've seen people on YouTube like figure out how they can like skip dungeons. Like it's not even important that you do the dungeons. So from what I'm seeing, it really kind of feels like a Dark Souls sandbox, which is exactly what I want. I don't feel locked into having to complete the bosses in like a specific order, or this dungeon's here so I have to do that, or like I know I need like this, you know, this particular item, so I have to go do that, and like I have like a laundry list of things I need to accomplish in the game. Elden Ring is just like this kind of sandbox, and that's what I want. Like that's what I've always wanted. You know, Dark Souls games kind of do that. It's like a linear sandbox, branching paths, and you can kind of they twist and turn, and there's shortcuts you open up, and like, oh, you open this door and now you can come through this way, and there's an elevator, and since you've been down here before, you can go down there again. It's easy to go now because you have the elevator. So it's kind of like a sandbox. It's like a linear sandbox, but having an open sandbox that doesn't rely upon you know, having done X or Y, I think will allow me to just kind of slither my way through the game as I see fit. I'm not going to glide. I'm not going to glide my way through it. I'm going to slither my way through it. I'm going to be very repetitive and very cautious with my progression. I'm going to start in like my sphere, like a sphere of influence that I start in, and then slowly expand it until I can kind of fast travel and do what I like and meet people online and everything. So yeah, I think Elden Ring is the game for me. I think it's going to solve a lot of the problems I've had with Soulsborne games before, so I'm pretty excited about it. So if these clouds weren't here, we might actually be able to see Florida. I don't know, 86 nautical miles is still kind of pretty far. I feel like we'd be on the cusp of being able to see the landmass though, but these clouds, man, these clouds have been a thorn in my side ever since we started the stream. I kind of wanted like an unobstructed view of the the beautiful landscape of the ocean, and we never really got that, did we? But hey, I mean, this concept was pretty experimental from the start. It seemed to work out, though. I probably won't do this exact thing again. Because, I mean, what can I talk about for 2 hours over the ocean? You know, playing podcasts and drinking chocolate milk and talking about Elden Ring. I normally don't do commentary on games that aren't Flight Simulator. Flight Simulator is the only game I do commentary on because I try to create a situation where the game will exist on my channel for posterity. And I feel like the last thing we need is me putting my foot in my mouth or talking about something stupid or trying to pad out, you know, some interesting anecdote that ends up going nowhere when the game itself should be the thing that's compelling. I also kind of think that if I'm uploading it or exporting it to YouTube, then it's not fair to the person who is watching it on YouTube for me to perhaps communicate with users who are on Twitch and then have the person who watches it later on YouTube not be able to have that same experience. So I want there to be uniformity. So that's why I often don't engage in chat even when I do stream. But today was a special case, and I don't think anyone said anything in chat. I did try the chat thing once before on my phone. I'm streaming on an Xbox right now, but there's a thing you can do where you can open the chat on your phone. And I had it open like in the early days, moving into the new console and new phone and everything. I did try that out, and it didn't work. I had people tell me afterwards, like, I tried chatting and you didn't say anything. It's like, well, I had it open the whole time and I didn't see it. So I don't know. Outside of troubleshooting that, I'm just leaving it alone for now. And like I said, if I end up streaming Elden Ring or something, there's not going to be commentary anyway. So 9 times out of 10, it doesn't matter. It won't affect anything. It's just that lately I've been streaming the Flight Simulator, and if I don't provide commentary during a Flight Simulator, then there's quite literally no reason to watch. So I have to at least provide commentary for this. The interesting thing that happens if you watch the same person for long enough is you kind of get to know them a little bit. This exists outside of Twitch too. I'm thinking about SNES Drunk. I think I have a really good... He's a YouTuber that I like. But SNES Drunk has kind of an avant-garde appreciation for video games that have kind of gone under the radar, and I kind of have this sense about his interests and the way he speaks about different games. And my girlfriend introduced me to a content creator named 16 Leo. I've been watching him and Curtis Connor. This is a side of YouTube that I don't normally engage with because I don't normally give a crap about that kind of content, but 16 Leo does just seem like a really good dude, and he's been going through a lot lately. I don't really know the finer details of his health concerns. I think it's better that I don't, because frankly it's none of my business, and I don't like talking. I kind of have a personal rule about talking about people's health concerns, but he's been public about aspects of it. So, but yeah, I'm rather concerned for 16 Leo, but he seems like he's doing a bit better now. I mean, a couple months ago he was pretty bad in the hospital a lot. But yeah, point is, you watch the same content creator for long enough, you start to get a sense of who they are and what makes them tick. And it's kind of a fascinating side effect of the whole content creator thing. God, there's so many clouds. I just want to land this plane already. A rainbow down there. Neat. We're getting close. 35 nautical miles. This is when, like, this is probably earlier than most people, but this is, I'd like to bring, with playing this fast, I'd like to bring my landing gear out. So I was thinking about having the autopilot land the plane for me, because I don't normally fly planes this big on the stream, and there's a lot of clouds, man. That makes me really nervous too. But yeah, coming into yeah, we can see land. This is Florida. Here we are. But coming into Miami here, I'm gonna do a manual landing. It's gonna be a bit touch and go. I can't even see. There's so many clouds. I'm very uncomfortable with flying blind, but I'm gonna have to make an approach here. So, like I said, I know one of these days I'm going to botch a landing, and it hasn't happened yet. This might be the one. So buckle up, kids. Let's do this thing. You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. We're flying straight into this cloud, dude. I don't care. Probably want to bring my speed down a little bit on approach. I don't know, man. That engine just sounded like it cut out. That was pretty scary. Scary, actually. I don't know why bringing my engine down a little bit would be so drastic. Look at that needle move down, dude. Why is it doing that? That is weird. I don't like that. I don't normally fly these kinds of planes. Okay, I see a break in the cloud that'll help my approach, so that's good. I'll try to squeak in there. Man, I put my throttle down like 10% and the needle goes down like 80%. That is weird stuff, man. That is weird, wild stuff. I'm losing altitude fast. I don't trust this this plane right now. All right, now we're getting to it, man. So that was a Bermuda Triangle. Fun stuff. So normally I would have I should have like a guide popping up to show me where my path should be on my approach, but I don't see anything like that. It's rather strange. Okay. Alright, so this is to get you lined up for a proper landing. So it's not that we went out of our way, but now we have to turn around. Because there's certain way you need to approach airports to get lined up properly for a landing. And these clouds are killing it for me, dude. Fortunately, we're in Florida, so we don't have to worry about any mountains popping up through the clouds or anything. Miami Executive. But we're going to land at Miami International. Keeping an eye on my instruments. Don't want to take anything for granted. Is this the right approach? I don't know. God, these clouds are killing it, man. They're killing it for me. I can't see the runway. Yeah, I'm way misaligned. I don't know what the deal was with that approach. It put me in the wrong spot. Yeah, I'm like completely perpendicular to the runway. Okay. I guess I just need to make another approach, right? That guide. Oh, there it is. Where were you 5 minutes ago? I needed that pattern entry. It's supposed to pop up automatically, and it never did. Alright, well, this is going to be pretty tricky. I mean, this plane doesn't even have this kind of, like... Oh my god. This plane doesn't even have this kind of, turning radius. I don't know how I'm going to do this. We are completely sideways. I hope y'all got your paper bags in coach. See, this is why I don't like these big planes. I gotta bring my throttle down a bit. I just want to get lined up with the approach, man. That's all I want to do. The yaw isn't doing anything. Oh my god. Alright. Wow, the yaw in this plane is a joke. It does nothing. Alright. What is happening with this plane? Wow, it's gonna be a long time before I... Oh my god, dude. No! No! Ah! There it is! I finally botched the landing. Oh man. Of course it would happen on the Bermuda Triangle stream, right? Alright. Well, there it is. I knew it was going to happen eventually. I'm kind of glad it happened during the Bermuda Triangle stream, because that's the whole idea, right? Is, you know, something... You want something to happen. So, well, there it is. I mean, hey, I landed. It's a landing I can walk away from, right? So, there you go. I guess I should have turned on autopilot after all. So, that was Bermuda Triangle. Thanks for watching. See you next time.